ago when they used to have females come up there that wanted to get the female's perspective. They would go up there and kind of cast them off guard a little bit. So hey, when it was 4th and 1, you went for it anyway. How did that make you feel? And how did I feel? I mean, well, I hated that I didn't get it. I mean, it made him sound stupid. I mean, it made him sound like he couldn't articulate himself. I mean, we just don't really articulate our feelings to one another. I mean, if I go out hunting, Don, did you go out hunting this past weekend?
I went to the deer lease to check my feeders, yes.
So you didn't hunt anything yet?
No.
No?
20 minutes.
When was the last time you killed something?
Last year, 7.1.
I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Stop showing us.
7-point buck is a good thing. Now, it's Don.
My dad got a 12.
He's going to go out here again in about a couple weeks, right? All right, when he goes out, he's not, and he's going to tell me he's going to grab, he shot a deer, and he's going to tell me the whole story about what happened. But when he comes and tells me this story, he's not going to be like, hey, Zeke, man, you know what happened? You know what I did last week? I went and I shot a 7-point buck. But I don't know how I feel about that. He's not going to do that. I mean, that's not going to be the source of his conversation. The source of the conversation is the technique or whatever, the actual amount of time he had to sit still for that thing to come by and bragging on his patience, bragging on his aim. It was one shot, he was dead. I mean, it was a story of conquering. Okay? Girls, now I'm not a girl, but I have seen this. All right? You would go, a couple of girls, maybe some of you guys have, some of you girls would have your girlfriends as a group go out to the mall and you guys go buy something. Now one of the girls will be out there and she'll see this pair of shoes that is $80. Okay. Now, the reason why I know this story is because it was my sister. Now, I told my sister I'm going to stop telling stories about her because you guys are going to be meeting her pretty soon. She's actually moving here in a couple of weeks. But when you meet her, be very nice to her and say, don't talk to her about her belly button or about all the other incidences I've used her as an illustration. But she's at this store, and there is these shoes that were $80, and she probably should not have bought them, but she really, really wanted them. Everything about her logic was saying no, 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 but everything about her heart was saying yes, yes, yes. I want these shoes, they look great with this, they look great with that. In fact, she said, now I don't understand this, but she said that you could dress it up and dress it down. Whatever that means.
It's a chick thing.
Now,
yeah, it's a chick thing.
So you girls, you probably understand what that means, but if I go to Don and Don says, like, I don't know how I feel about that, I feel like kind of bad about it, I'm not going to tell him, hey dude, don't worry about it. You know the reason why it's a good idea you shot that deer? I mean, A, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. I'm not going to tell him that. But this makes perfect sense to my sister. So she went ahead and bought these shoes, and her friends were right there, right next to her, and they're like, oh man, you know why you should buy these shoes? You can dress them up, dress it down. Whatever that means. I mean, and you deserve it, but what's reassuring this decision that she made, because this is, and you can definitely see the difference there in what we like to do as fun. Even in simple things like our entertainment is very, very different. Or how we enjoy our company of one another. All right? I probably wouldn't go out shopping with guys. All right? When I go to the mall, now this is me.
Shopping for guys.
When I go to the mall, I know why I'm going there. I know where I'm going. I know where the store is at. I go in there, buy it, and I get out. You know, what?
My dad does that.
That's what her dad does.
Wait.
Guys do that. Now I know there's some guys that go out there and they like to shop and they, because they're a little bit self-absorbed and they start looking at things that they start trying out clothes. I know what my size is. I go in there, I buy my size, and I leave. I know your dad does the exact same thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't like when my mom goes.
All right, now do it. No, okay, we'll talk about that later. But that's going to be in our second series. I mean, our next week's series. Now, our thought process is just very, very different. Okay?
Way different.
Basically, girls, your mind functions kind of like a bowl of spaghetti. This will make sense here a little bit. Guys, we're more like waffles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me explain what this means. We're going to get into God's Word here. If you guys have your Bibles, you guys can open up with me to Genesis chapter 1. So we're going to look at the first relationship between a guy and a girl. And you're going to even see distinct differences, not only in who they are, not only in their drives, but in the roles by which God made them. The roles that God designed for them to have, to play in the relationship. Okay? Now, a girl, tell me if you can identify with this. For some reason, they have this ability, because their mind is kind of like spaghetti, every thought, it's as if every thought is touching all other thoughts. There's a reason why your mother can cook breakfast, grade the homework, talk on the phone, and change a diaper all at the same time.
That sounds like my mom.
Without missing a beat. Now it's kind of weird changing a diaper and cooking breakfast at the same time. But she can do it.
I can do that.
And keep all the poop out of the food. I can't do that. Guys, we think a little bit differently. We kind of think by sections. The reason why mom can do all this is because all these thoughts are intertwined and she can pick them up at the same time. That's why in a conversation like those guys were, they were going from topic to topic, but it was all related to one another. Okay? That's why whenever he hung up the phone, they can all be talking about the same thing, you know. Everyone, and all I heard was, but they understood everything that was being said. And the whole time they're like, oh yeah. I mean, without missing a beat. You saw those girls who were pretending to be guys, they went from one particular thought to the next particular thought. And they weren't related. One scene they were arguing, they were talking about football. The next scene they're getting ready to fight each other. You know, it had nothing to do with one or the other. And then right in the midst of the fight, they completely shifted to check out this nasty hit. And all the focus and attention was off of the fight and looking at some guy getting hit in football. I mean, they went from box to box. You guys look at the floor. You guys see that? Think of a guy's mind like the tiles in the floor. They're going to be in any given box. Okay? Now we have an awareness of the surrounding boxes. But we're really only functioning in one box. So if I'm here and I'm fixing a car or something, I'm not going to be thinking about my significant other. It doesn't sound bad. I mean, it sounds bad, but it doesn't mean that's any less important. It just means I'm in this box. Now, guys, we have a favorite box. Okay? LB is going to be able to give you guys a really neat side of the girls. But guys, let me give you at least this part right here of the dudes. We have a box that we just absolutely love. Girls, you need to know this. There's one box that is filled to the brim with absolutely nothing. That is our absolute favorite box. We actually stay and spend most of the time in this box. That's why girls, if you have a boyfriend, you ask him, hey, what are you thinking? You go, nothing.
That's the exact box.
It really isn't. We love being in the box of nothing, and you'll see why here in a few seconds. You guys have your Bibles. You guys have them open to Genesis? You guys got them? Yep. Open up to Genesis chapter 1. In Genesis chapter 1, we're going to see some distinct differences between the guy and the girl. Okay, we're going to talk about the girl here in a little bit. Okay? Let's look at here verse number 27. Chapter 1, verse number 27. You guys got it?
Yep.
Alright, let's read. So God created human beings in His own image. What's going to happen here is God is going to describe the sixth-day creation. He's going to describe how Adam and Eve, the moment that Adam and Eve was created on day 6, and then we're going to go back to day 6. This is what's happening at the beginning. God is just giving an illustration of what happened on each day. And then in chapter 3, we're going to go back, on chapter 2, we're going to go back to day 6. What actually happened on this day when Adam and Eve were created. Okay? Verse number 28. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth, govern it, reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and the animals that scurry along the ground. And God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the animals and the birds in the sky and all the animals that scurry along the ground, these animals that he's supposed to have dominion over, and everything that has life. And that is what happened. Verse number 31, and God looked over everything that he had made and saw that it was good. In these verses, you're going to look at some differences between Adam and Eve. And they're really coming down to in chapter 2, verse number 7. You guys turn over there real quick. One page over. Should be on the same page sometimes. Look at this. He's going to go back to this part where he made. He's going to describe in detail what happened on day 6 when he created man and woman. Verse number 7. Then the Lord formed the man from the dust of the ground, and he breathed the breath of life into man's nostrils. And the man became a living person. Genesis makes it really clear. Adam at this point is not in the Garden of Eden. You'll see that here in a few seconds. He's not in the Garden of Eden. He's out in the wilderness where the world has not been tilled, hasn't been taken care of yet. God created everything, and now he's about to create Adam out of the ground. And it's obvious that he was born, or he was created in the outback, kind of like in the wilderness. I mean, this is the untamed part of creation. This isn't the Garden of Eden. Only afterward is he brought to Eden. Ever since this happened, guys, we have this drive to explore. We have this drive to seek this, to be out in the wilderness, be out in the outdoors. Okay? The reason why my brother and I told you guys about this before. My brother and I, we really love to visit this ditch that was next to our house.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? The reason why we wanted to go out there, in spite of how dangerous it was, in spite of how many rusted nails were on the floor, in spite of how much trouble we would get in if we went over there was this longing just building up. Because we knew there was adventure out there at the ditch. That sense of danger that my mom was describing was actually attractive. It wasn't a deterrent. What my mom said didn't make us go, oh, okay, yeah, we don't want to do dangerous stuff.
That would be the girls.
No. Let's not go there. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. There's a reason why we have this drive. Okay? In spite of even getting in trouble, we went out there.